Ayun in picture, 28 years of age. So just to remember him by the yellow and black vest. Won 72.5 in the national games. Got the better of his countryman by 2.5 kilos in the clean and jerk. Little bit of relief. First one safely in at 165. Let's hope our friends doing the TV graphics tonight will get the body weight sorted out in the right way, because this class could be really tight and competitive. Now here's a youngster. This is Ilya Ilin of Kazakhstan. Only 17 years of age, but a rising star. The reigning junior world champion. Snatched 168 kilos in Busan. Snatched 200 and 374, which is the junior world total. Confident enough there.
17. I wonder how old he was when he started training. Well, he's not even going to come into his prime until perhaps the Olympics after the next. So potentially a very long and successful career ahead of that young man.
Best in the B group earlier on today, 165 kilos in the snatch. But I said the best, actually, the best is actually 185, which is quite interesting. So both Chinamen, both of the Chinese lifters, I should say, on their way. So still 165 on the bar.
Well, we knew this was going to be a very close competition with only a 12 kilo spread.
But here's a really interesting fact, David. And something arguably of a cock-up on behalf of the IWF, because in the B group, Andrei Rybakov of Belarus snatched 180, 183 and 185 for a new world record in the snatch. That's 2 times he broke the world record for the snatch.
But what did he clean and jerk?
Well, he totaled off at 380.
So he clean and jerked 195.
Correct.
So he's very weak on the clean, but very strong on the snatch, extremely weak on the clean and jerk.
Yeah, there were 3 men that actually clean and jerked 195, but 380 is an interesting total, and might take 1 or 2 scalps.
Well, it's a shame he can't sort his clean and jerk out, isn't it?
No lift.
But you see, he entered a total of 365, whereas the lowest of our lifters was 75. But nonetheless, it's a little bit embarrassing to have someone lifting as effectively as that, who breaks 2 world records in the B group, and unfortunately Our colleagues who are doing the television haven't recorded that, so they can't show it to us, or we don't know if they can show it to us. If they have, it would be really nice to see it. Because he is, at the moment, very much the leader on 185. Which in a way, Russell, answers your question, because Rybakov from Belarus, they haven't had many lifters here, but he's already made a name for himself. So Kalencia, what's that,
165.
165. So that's just about, well, he's done 167.5. He's where you would expect him to be, really. Ranked third in this year's IWF World Rankings. And now 165 for Malikian. So just to take a little look at the body weights here, Malikian weighing in pretty heavy, 84 kilos 97. Kalancia at 84.60.
Not today. So he stays on 162 kilos.
I would just like to remind you that
I mean, if you look right down this field, David, 185. He's got to be on the podium, hasn't he? He could even end up with the gold medal.
He'll win the gold medal on the snatch, but it's the overall, because he only clean and jerk 10 kilos more. But he's going to take a. I mean, he could end up on the overall podium. It's unlikely because of that clean and jerk. But
yeah, because there's plenty of lifters. If they lift to form, there's plenty of 200, 205 kilo lifters. But if you look at that, he's got 195. If they're lifting 200, 202, 5 kilos, 7 kilos, if he gets a 10 kilo march on some of these guys, it's going to be close.
Well, he's certainly going to be on the podium for the snatch.
Well, that we know. I mean, it does make you wonder in a way.
good lift.
So 167.
168 kilos.
Martirosyan, the second of the two Armenians.
Second attempt.
Tigran Martirosyan, fifth in Europe this season. And that 167 is just about what he lifted in the Olympics when he finished 7th in Athens. So that's a good start.
Will be the next.
But of course, the man we really want to see is Oleg Perepechenov, because as a 77 kilo lifter, snatch 210.
Clean and jerk 210.
Clean and jerk 210. And if he's in any form like that, David, then he's immensely dangerous. So now, Vashislav Yashov. Is this 170?
Yes, 170. For the second of the men from Kazakhstan.
Yeah, 24 years of age. Looking for today for a total of 385.
Держи! Браво, Слава!
Good lift.
Tremendous depth in this class.
Yeah, now this is really a class, David. You were talking about it yesterday. Class you couldn't call. This is just so open. So the first of the two Russians, Ediev. He's had a couple of occasions in big championships where he's failed to get a total. It's usually on the clean and jerk phase that he runs into trouble.
Well, I was just about to say, he usually starts very, very high, and today's no exception.
Yeah, 170, 172 and a half, 173.
Was bronze medal winner at Athens Olympic Games.
I was going to say about Rybakov, David. I mean, really, when they were, drawing up the competition lists, they should have been well aware, of his ability and how dangerous he potentially could be. And really, he should have been in this final. Because he would have lifted earlier in the clean and jerk the most, but would have been interesting to see him physically taking part on stage. And also, it's very different, isn't it, when you're having to lift amongst everybody who's being really competitive, as opposed to having essentially a free run on your own. I mean, there wasn't anybody in the B group who was running with him at all, not in the snatch phase.
Yes, in some ways it's an advantage because the pressure is not on you, but in another way it's a disadvantage because you don't have the hindsight of knowing whether you need to take an extra kilo or an extra 2 kilos.
Kazakhstan will be the next.
手一手好，别着急啊。
I think today is very much a day about getting 6 lifts out of 6 if you can in this class. Now, there are 2 men who still haven't started, and I'll tell you about them in a moment. Better. Like that one even better than the first one.
Much better. Yeah, very, very good.
2 men who haven't started, Oleg Perepechenov of Russia, and also Iliran Suli of Albania.
Not only is Ilya Ilyin the youngest competitor in the field with his 17 years.
So we were expecting Perepechenov pretty soon, but
He's just been out. He just snatched 170.
yeah. To start his campaign, here's Suli.
Спина. Держи. Молодец.
17 years old. Well, that's impressive.
Now that's Suli.
Oh, he's not 17 years old.
No, he's not. He's oh, sorry, that's Ilian Ilya. Sorry, that's absolutely right. He is. I got confused there because they put the caption up for Suli and then it was Ilya. They got confused and I got confused. Ilya Ilyin of Kazakhstan. So the only man who hasn't actually started is Suli. So Ediev now, a failure the first time at 170.
He does like putting himself under pressure, this man.
170 kilograms remain on the bar for
But we know him of old, and chances are, David, he'll pull it out of the fire. Mr. Rigger will work on him. So Perepachenov there with that very light body weight, 82.57.
The graphics are wrong again. Man from the B group, 185, should be number 1.
Absolutely, but he's, according to them, he's not in the competition. Yeah, if you're just coming in, very good evening to you. David Morgan together with myself, David Goldstrom. We're early stages of the men's 85 kilo class. On the stage, lifting in the hall, it's Oleg Perepachenov, who's moved up from 77 to 85 kilos, who at the moment leads the way, but in reality he doesn't, because Andrei Rybakov, earlier this afternoon in the B group, snatched not one, but 2 new world records, 183 and 185 kilos, and the man from Belarus is technically leading the snatch competition. So 185, that's where these lads have got to go to if they want to take on Rybakov. So pressure lift to stay alive, to give himself a chance of a total.
Спину закрепи.
Somehow he always seems to pull it out the fire.
Yes, it's good there. So we finally finished with the
But that's as far as he goes. But he has the ability to clean and jerk 200, but he's going to have to find more kilos than that if he wants to get back into this.
Second attempt.
So Liu Yong with 171. And just reflecting on Ediev there, you see, he finishes on 170, David. That's 15 kilos behind Rybakov. So Rybakov clean and jerks 195. And so, you know, now you're looking at someone like Ediev.
11.
Yeah.
Which he's not going to do.
Exactly. So we know that Rybakov can't be worse than 10th, because he's bound to take the scalp of Ediev. And I'm sure he's going to take a few other scalps as well. So, Liu Yong, second in the national games, pumping himself up here. Snatched 172.5 in the Chinese national games last month. Very good.
Nice technician. Smooth.
I think both the Chinese very good at this lift.
Quite verbal. He said, see, it's easy, wasn't it?
It's interesting how the options come in there. Very good example of, you know, under the old rules, a fight, it would have been 5 kilos or 7.5, 6, and he makes it. So that does make a difference. It does make it more intriguing.
So this man having some work done in the back room. I don't know if you noticed. He's having some large quantity of deep heat rubbed on his back.
5 kilo increase for Tigran Martirosyan of Armenia. Locks on almost at the extremities of the bar.
No lift.
Asanidze, of course, was the Olympic champion for Georgia. Snatched 177.5, 205, 382.5. If you remember, David, you know, remember he was always susceptible to injuries, and we never thought actually that we'd see him lifting in the Olympic Games. But you know, the 382.5, maybe he was in a way a little fortunate because he didn't really get pushed that hard.
Well, that's right. The Olympic Games, the 85 kilo class was a class where many people that we had big expectations for either didn't compete because they're ill, or they competed and missed all their lifts. I think there was a few injuries and a few illnesses, so that class was one with some low totals. And in fact,
Rybakov was the silver medalist on 380, and Dimas got the bronze.
Almost got the gold actually on his last clean and jerk. He just had to do 207.5, and it would have been the gold by virtue of body weight. So it was.
But they were sort of, with no disrespect to Piros, meeting Piros on the sort of downward curve, but he nearly pulled it out of the fire, but nonetheless a great bronze medal. Well, I'll tell you what, David, if all these men are going to finish around 175, Rybakov is really in with a shout. Because if he steals a 10-kilo march on the majority of the field, he's got a real chance of being on the overall podium again.
Let's go.
Much to the embarrassment of the International Weightlifting Federation, I hope. Oh, well corrected.
Good lift.
I was going to say puts him into the lead, but of course it doesn't. It puts him into second place.
Yeah, just to emphasise for everybody, sorry to labour the point, but Andrei Rybakov in the B group, 185 kilos in the snatch phase of this afternoon's B group competition. So he currently has the highest possible position at the moment. Now, Perepachenov. These are very measured lifts here by Perepachenov, Olympic bronze medalist at 77 kilos. Now up to the 85 kilo class, so he snatched 170 in Athens. So if he's comfortable, the extra body weight should mean extra kilos. Well, he didn't flap and he didn't fluster either. Stayed down in the low position, drove up, and he is now second. But he's still 12 kilos behind Rybakov. So Juan for 173. I mean, the lifting's pretty good here, David, but they are running out of lifts in relation to Rybakov. You know, I can see him having 10 kilos over most of the field, and then it's going to be really fascinating. Rybakov weighed in at 84.7, so that's going to be maybe a bit of a critical factor.
So, Chinese got rather a lot to say.
Yeah, Wan Ayun. 3 out of 3,
but it worked.
And that's good. That is just half a kilo more than the national games, but he's clean and jerk 207.5.
So he's pretty good on the clean and jerk, pretty strong.
Время спокойно.
I'm really impressed with this young. So in fact, I'd tip him for Olympic gold in the next Olympic Games. To be doing these weights at that age, there must be so much more improvement to come.
No lift.
No, good effort, but he's left on 170.
Load the bar to 175 kilos, please. Get to start your show.
So now the other Kazakhstan lifter, the 24-year-old at 175, I think the bar going to now, David.
Yeah, all the reds, 6 reds.
is now taking 175 kilograms as a second attempt. Lu Yong to prepare.
So 9 lifters, 1 absentee now. We can confirm Sully as a non-starter. There were 10 on the list originally. Although before grabbing at that, Sully, back in the World Championships in 2002, actually snatched 175 kilos.
Яршов, высоко!
On his way to 4th place. We've not heard anything official, but I would have thought by now he would have been out for his opening lift, David.
Молодец!
Well, that's very good.
Good lift.
And these 2 Kazakh lifters, very useful. Always good when you have 2 in a class,
China.
working with each other, pushing each other. So Lu Yong, 165, 171, 175. There's the progress you can see. So this to go ahead of his teammate.
动作干脆啊！
Both of them snatched 172.5 in the national games. But it was Ayun who was Hayun who was more successful in the clean and jerk.
If he does this, he'll have something to say.
Oh, they are technically so good to watch.
Good lift.
And the other side of this coin, David, is we're seeing China at full range right through the weight classes.
175.
That's right, they used to just dominate in the very, very lighter classes, but I suppose with the Olympics in China next time round, they're starting to bring on lifters throughout the whole of the range.
Well, I think also the fact is that because the Asian Games are here in Doha next year, you know, they're taking the opportunity of getting everybody acclimatized to the place and the venue. Good explosive snatch there from Perepechenov.
And now for the last.
But he ends on 175. So he's certainly a danger to Rybakov, because he looks in really good condition. That was the best of the 3 snatches he's produced.
Yes, and he's potentially very, very strong in the clean and jerk. Has done 210 as a 77 man, so
Yeah.
we should be seeing more than 210 from him. Maybe even an attempt at that world record.
180 kilograms, please.
So that's the situation at the moment. But of course, Rybakov still, the absent Rybakov, still the man who leads.
Vyacheslav Yershov, Kazakhstan. 180
Very good evening to you, Rotem, in Israel.
Third attempt.
You were asking about Milan Dobrev, one of your favourite weightlifters in the 94 kilo class, which of course is still to unfold, and he is indeed in the lineup. He's entered a total of 400 kilos, so I hope you'll be with us for that.
Давай выложись, выложись.
So 180 kilos, big jump actually. 70, 75, and now 80. And he needed 76 to put himself in silver medal position. So not quite sure about the logic of this. Obviously thinks he can do it.
Well, let's hope the coaches haven't forgotten about Rybakov.
Высоко!
Point well made, David.
No lift, and this completed.
Puts him down at 175, weighed in at 82.67, Perepechenov 82.57, so Perepechenov in silver, and this man gets the bronze. If he'd taken 176, he might have lifted it, might have got the silver medal. And of course, every kilo he gets more than Perepechenov has to help his cause, because if Perepechenov is in top form, then he's going to take all the beating. But there it is. They've said there that Yershov is in top position in the snatch. No, he's not, because Rybakov is. He's not even in second, because Perepechenov is, because his body weight, as you can see there, is 82.57. Yershov is 82.67. So once again, I apologise. It's not our fault. It's out of our control. I know it's frustrating, but the man who's got the gold is the man who set the 2 new world records in the B group earlier this afternoon. That's Rybakov. Perepechenov takes the silver, and Vyacheslav Yershov of Kazakhstan gets the bronze. Rybakov with a 10 kilo advantage over the men who've lifted this evening in the A group. Will it be enough to see all of them off, or some of them off?